praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKadosh. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, means He is in Hebrew. Yahweh Shai is the name of His Son, often mistakenly and ignorantly called Jesus. That means He is, Yahweh Shai means He is who saves. HaKadosh is the name of the Holy Spirit in Hebrew. Raha meaning holy, Raha meaning the Spirit, Quadash meaning holy. So, the real Hebrew Israelites didn't know already. The 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 lost tribes of Israel are lost because, not because they're out in the forest somewhere or in the desert, but they're lost because they were, pursuant to Psalms chapter 83, they were told they were divorced from their heritage, they were miseducated, they were told not to read, they were told that they are black, they are told they are of no nation. It says in the Bible, beasts of no nation, I believe. And see if we can find some of that. But first of all, we're going to go to Psalms 83, just to find out what these people did to our people, such as we will forget who we are and why we are, why they asked us to do, why they wanted to do that. Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O God, hold not thy peace, be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make atonement. They that hate thee have lifted up their head. So they hate the Most High. The people that did this, they hate the Most High. And why did they hate the Most High? I'm going to get into that in a minute. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and have consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. So it was their intention that they would hate, that they would cut off Israel from their heritage. Why is that? Let's look in the book of, I think it's Esther chapter 5. If I can find it. In Esther chapter 5, we'll find out exactly why all of the different nations try to cut off Israel from being a nation. Was it 15? I think it was Esther chapter 15. I'll find that later. Let me see. Something about a letter to a king. I thought it was Esther 5. Was it Ezra? Ezra, not Esther. Ezra 5 and 6. The copy of the letter that Tattenai, governor of the side of the river, were on the side and sent unto Darius the king. They sent a letter unto him, thus and written thus: unto Darius the king, all peace be it known unto the king, that when we went into the province of Judea to the house of the great God, which is builded, the great stones and timber is laid in the walls, and the work goes fast on and prosperous in their hands. So, first of all, the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrews, who build temples, who were builders, who knew stonework, who knew, if you like, the first masons, they knew stonework. You know, they were the ones who built these marvels, these pyramids, and worked fast, and the work prosperous in their hand, meaning that they complete work, so the building don't screw up. Then we asked those elders and said unto them thus: who commanded you to build this house and make up these doors? We asked their names also to satisfy thee, that we might write the names of the men that were chief of them. And they returned us an answer, saying, we are the servants of God of heaven and earth, and build the house that was builded these years ago, and set up. But after our fathers had provoked the God of heaven unto wrath, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this house and carried the people away to Babylon. But the first year of Cyrus, the king of Babylon, the same Cyrus made a decree to build this house of God, and the vessels also of gold and silver, and the house of God which Nebuchadnezzar took out the temple of Babylon. Thus did Cyrus the king take out the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Shabbazzar, who when he had made governor, said unto him, Take these vessels and carry them to the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let them at the house of God be built in this place. Then came Shabbazzar and laid the foundation of the house of God which is in Jerusalem. Even this time, even unto now, has it been builded, and yet it's not finished. Now therefore it seemed good to the king that the search be made in the king's treasure house where there is in Babylon, whether it be so that the decree was made of Cyrus to build this house of God at Jerusalem. And the king said, It's his pleasure concerning the matter. This is just going into the building. I don't think this is the letter I was looking for. Maybe it's in Judges. This is another letter to a king. See 7-11. I might have to ask the chat because I keep on trying to find this letter. We'll go back into this anyway in a minute. Let's find it. Let's ask the chat. Which letter, Bible verse contains a letter to the king that says when Israel obeys their God, they are invincible. It may be in the Apocrypha, so maybe chat won't find it, but we'll find it. The book of Numbers. Book of Deuteronomy. It's a few places. Book of Joshua. No, it's a letter. But anyway, we can get this. One of you routs 1,000 because the Lord your God fights for you. Book of Joshua 23:10. Book of let's see the book of Numbers 23 and 19. Let's commit this to memory. 23 and 19. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Hath he said, and he shall not do it? Hath he spoken, he shall not make good? Behold, I have received a commandment to bless, and blessed to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. God brought them out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob. So all of these people who are doing their stuff on the left-hand side, well, and it says in these days that they'll consult their idols and their their sorcerers. But it says stand now with your sorcery in Isaiah, I believe. It says, stand now with your sorceries, Esau, because they'll be to no avail. They'll be silent and mute before prophecy, because it says again in Isaiah that he creates a light and he creates the darkness. That he is the author and the finisher of our faith. You know, he's the one who commands all these things to happen. There's not anything that happens that he has not ordained, and neither does anything he says will happen come back void. You know, so this is the reason why. And I will find that letter. I will find that scripture in the Bible because it's annoying me now. I thought I'd found it. It was in Ezra's chapter 5, but we are going to go. Still going to go to Second Esdras. And get into chapter 15 because it says here, "Behold, thou speak in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." So, you know, what do you mean? Do you mean that the Lord gonna come from the sky and beat up Esau and it's not gonna be China that comes next? It's gonna be the Hebrews, the 12 tribes of Israel, the Judah, the African American Negroes, the Benjamites, which are the Jamaicans, the Levi, which are the Haitians, Reuben, which are the Seminole Indians and Aborigines of Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, Naphtali, the Hawaiians, Samoans, and South Pacific Islanders, Manasseh, the Cubans, Zebulun, the Campbellians, Colombians, Panamanians, and Guatemalans, Simeon, the Dominicans, Asher, the Brazilians, Argentinians, and Venezuelans, Ephraim, the Puerto Ricans, and Gad, the North American Indians. We really feel that these people are going to have next. You know, people are going to be incredulous because I was watching a what's it called now? Lecture by this guy, Professor Jang. He's kind of come up to he calls it astrological convergence theory. He's come up with a new theory. Right. I'm laughing, right? But he has some points, but I'm laughing because basically, astrological convergence theory states that the scriptures that are written about the end times are coming to pass. It's the same thing that one Western have been saying for 40 years. He's like, he gives it this new title. He says astrological convergence theory. I mean, he did make some predictions. He put himself out there and he's put the name for it. A lot of people are saying, agreeing with what he's saying. But his thing is, he calls it astrological convergence. And his point is more along the lines of, so many people have their ancient theories and the secret societies are trying to make these things happen. And therefore, they are bound to come to pass because they have the will to make their own particular brand of eschatology come to pass. So anything that will societies, whether it's the Jews, the Illuminati, the Christians, the Islam, anything that that is agreed, it will come to pass because it's being created by secret societies. We don't really care at the end of the day because the Lord is making these things come to pass. And I sat here and I've watched these things come to pass, and I've been watching the prophecies of Ezekiel 37, the land of Gog and Magog. To see those things coming to pass even as we speak. So you can call it astrological conversions, or you can call it believing in the scriptures. To call it what you like, it's happening. He was talking about I can't remember why I was going into this, but he was talking about the theory of Plato's cave and how they created this fake economy, this fake finance, this fake educational system, this fake judiciary. And if you go into the judiciary and how the legal system works, you understand. There used to be a guy followed back in the day called Winston Sharp. He used to go into how basically all the laws, all the bills, all the bonds that happen in court, all the convictions, it's just finance. It's just finding out who's going to sign the bill at the bottom, who's going to be liable for a charge. Looking at insurance and hypothecation, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I will hold my tongue no more, such in their wickedness. oh no, it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And we're just at the beginning of this now, the beginning of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah chapter 30. It's all just about now. All of Jacob's trouble is just about his mom. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wicked. Because they have been wicked people in the past, but I don't. There's been stories about vampires, but these people are the real vampires. They're trying to. They are, eating children, doing all sorts, And there is one country in particular which all of this circles around, which all of the vampire what's it called, stories and hearsay surround, but also which some of the actual facts are surrounding. There's one nation, 48ers or the Small Hats. All of that's coming from them. We all know that Epstein worked for Mossad, and Mossad has an agenda to run their blackmail schemes and their bribery schemes, to get people of influence, politicians and technocrats, into certain parties and take certain pictures of them. If you ever wondered why Epstein writes emails to himself, wonder no more, because he wasn't doing it for fun. He was doing it for evidence, so that he could remember what people had done to him, blackmail, and thereby promote the agenda of a certain organisation or a certain country. Neither will I suffer which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cries out unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. These are the prayers, these are the groanings and the moanings of the people that have been murdered and enslaved over time. Most notably the house of Israel. We're going to see all this. So we get into the point where the Lord is saying enough is enough. The Lord has held his tongue. He's held his peace. Even as some of the people of Israel have woken up. Beginning first with other rivers. Coming back, and the 10. What is it that they call it? The 10 hard years or the 10 cold years. By the elders and apostles, Apostle Pard, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramla, and the fourth apostle, I can't remember his name, who before they hit the internet were just on the streets for 10 hard years, and in the cold, in the snow, in the rain. These guys go out, man. But I will bring them with a mighty hand outstretched arm and smite Egypt with his plagues. So that's basically where we are now. That's basically what's about to happen. That's basically what's about to go down right now. We are seeing the rise of Jacob. We're seeing the fall of Esau. Esau ain't gonna go down without a fight. We're seeing that the silver markets are being manipulated. But there's a popular meme that says silver ends the Fed, and when the price of silver and the price of gold goes up, that's it. That's a wrap on the Federal Reserve. So when people start demanding their gold back, that's it. So they are artificially trying to push that down. There was something else I wanted to talk about. The war. I think the war in Iran. Iran wants all the smoke. I watched a video of. I shouldn't even laugh, man. It says in the scriptures that you shouldn't be joyful about the day of the Lord, because it's going to come. It says in Isaiah, I think every battle is fought with confusion and blood, but this will be flames of fire. We ain't going to be a joke to him. But when I couldn't help but laugh. It came back to me what I was going to talk about. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard about Iran's plans or Iran's demands for peace. Iran wanted 800 billion. They wanted America out of the Middle East, But also, crucially, today I heard that Al-Aqsa. So there's there's a temple. Solomon's temple exists in the city of Jerusalem, and on top of that is one of the most venerated mosques. I think it's only the second most venerated mosque in the whole of Islam, the Al-Aqsa Temple. Now the 1948ers believe that they will build that temple up, and that will create the third temple, not knowing, as it says in Acts, that howbeit that the Spirit of God dwells not in the temple, the Spirit of God dwells not in the temple made by human hands. You know, the third temple, the temple that is the most glorious, its pillars are men. You know, its stones are made of men, and its keystone, its cornerstone is Yahweh Shai, man. He's the stone. You know, when you build an arch, if you look at the Roman arch, there was one piece called the keystone. The keystone was what everything leaned on. Without the keystone, the whole arch would collapse. And we've got one keystone, which is Yahweh Shai. But, you know, that's why Yahweh Shai said the stone that the builders rejected, you know, is back. That's why he said that he could rebuild the temple in 3 days if he knocked it down. Because he understood that the third temple, the next rebuilding of the temple, would be made of men. And that's the members of the elect. But yeah, the Al-Aqsa Temple now, 1948, is thinking they can rebuild the temple and thereby bring about the, force the hand of the Lord, you know, and bring about the coming of the Messiah. But at the end of the day, it says in the scriptures, they shall build, but I shall throw down. They will try and build that temple, and it's not even going to, and even if they did manage it, that's not even going to be the true third temple anyway, so they're wasting their time. But in order for them to build that temple, first of all, Al-Aqsa will need to be destroyed. Now, another prophecy, not prophecy, but prediction made by Professor Jang was that they will have to destroy that temple before they can start to, they'll have to destroy the mosque that's on top of Solomon's temple, the Al-Aqsa mosque, before they can start to do the building of the third temple, and that they will blame it on Iranian missiles. Now there's no way in hell that Iran will be trying to target the Al-Aqsa temple, but today I heard this morning, I was having my breakfast, that Israel is claiming that the Al-Aqsa temple got hit by debris, which is going to clear the path for them to build the third temple. You know, so they found another thing that they do. For them to build the third temple, they have to sacrifice 3 cows that are purely red, 3 red heifers. They need to find perfect red heifers that have no other hairs on them. You know, they've got these strange people going through trying to check every hair on the 4 cows, and then they're going to burn them and use the ashes to wash the tools with which they're going to build the third temple. They're just so far off course. They're so far, you know. It says in the scriptures that you know, the secret, surely he revealed the secrets to the servants of prophets. I think I got that one last time, you know. And you know, everybody is left blind. I'm roughly paraphrasing, you know, because at the end of the day, they don't know what they're doing, you know. And it's going to be super ironic that Israel is going to be in their efforts to bring back the Messiah, they are going to bring back Armageddon, and they're going to be revealed to be Amalek, the bastard that dwells in Ashdod. If you wouldn't need to understand that, why it is called the bastard in the Bible, I think it's Zechariah 9 and 6. The bastard that dwells in Ashdod, the bastard is someone who doesn't have a name. Now, the grandson of Esau had a son called Ephinaz, I think, and Ephinaz had many wives, but he had one concubine, someone who didn't marry, called Timu. And Timu's son was Amalek, the least of the flock. Obviously, being a bastard, he was the least of the flock. He was the least of Esau's flock. He was the least of the house of Esau. And it's him, it says in the scriptures, that will draw them out. It's him that will come. Now, it's a saying, the least of the flock will draw them out. I believe, this is my personal belief, that was a saying among shepherds, saying that when you call your sheep back home from flock, it's the young ones that come first. I kind of confirmed that because I looked into it, but it's just I feel it's the same among shepherds, but they use different prophecy to show that the least of the flock, the youngest, the one without the smallest amount of status, are the ones that are going to draw all of the nations out into what they call the Valley of Jehoshaphat, meaning Yahweh's judgment. Shaphat, meaning judgment. Jehovah, Yahweh, meaning Yahweh's judgment, the Valley of Yahweh's judgment. So the least of the flock, Amalek, the son of a concubine, who dwells in Ashdod even to this day. If you look at where Ashdod is in the map, you'll see what I'm talking about. The least of the flock shall draw them out into the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and there he will plead with them. I want to get some of their 14, and then we're going to close this out. That's what I was going to do. 14 or 51. 51 I think I've already read. Yeah, let's see. Hearken unto me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord, look unto the rock whence you are hewn, and unto the hole pit whence you are digged, whence ye are digged. Look unto Abraham your father, unto Sarah that bare you. And see, once again, you see what, it's a lineage thing. Because obviously, if salvation was for all peoples, then it would have been, this is prior to Yahushua anyway, but salvation was for all peoples, it would have said, look unto your father, because not everybody has the same, and not everybody stems from Abraham, not everybody on the earth. It says there's no end to all the nations in the scriptures and in the Bible, so we know that it's not just, it is only the house of Israel. The line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I called him alone and blessed him and increased him. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wildernesses like Eden, and the desert like the garden of the Lord. And the desert obviously is an allegory for a place, but it's also a people. As pursuant to Ezekiel 37, it talks about the valley of dry bones. And her desert will like the garden of joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. For a law shall proceed from me. I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arm shall judge the people. The isle shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens. It does say, I think it's in Luke 21, where it says, when these things happen, look up for your redemption draweth nigh. I think it's Revelation chapter 12 or chapter 17, where it talks about when Michael stands up and there's war in the heavens, right? So this is when we start to see them F-35s getting knocked out of the sky by some mysterious force. That's when and it says in Jeremiah 10, it says, do not be dismayed by the signs of heavens, man. Do not be dismayed by all the stuff that's going to be kicking off in the skies, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the Lord fighting for us. That's going to be the Lord pleading our cause, man. Judging, basically, not just pleading, but judging the people that have done so much wickedness to the house of Israel, so much wickedness to the innocent, spilled the blood of the innocent, so much wickedness to the states, persecuted the prophets, man, killed Yahushua. All of that, they think like, it says in the scriptures, you have your father the devil, and the lust of your father you shall do, man. It's like the peoples, they continue with the same patterns, man. So you can recognize a person, you can recognize a prophet by his fruits, but you can recognize a lineage by their pattern. Who covet floods by violence, man? You know what I mean? Who's taken? Who was it that decided to, just wanted to go into Iran and take their gold reserves that they recently found and control their oil, or take over Venezuela? You know, it says in the scriptures, "Remove not the ancient landmarks, man." You ain't supposed to be going around trying to put your flag in places. You know, these places have been established over time, man. It's the Lord's, it's the Lord that brings up a king, and the Lord that takes him down. The Lord to give us increase. Anyway, let's carry on. Hearken my people, and give ear unto me, and my nation, for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arm shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath, for the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of me, neither be afraid of the reviling. For the moth shall eat them up like the garment, and worms shall eat them like wool, but my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation. Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake, as in the ancient days, the generations as old. Art thou not it that have cut out Rahab and rooted the dragon? You know, the dragon is the sea, known to be America. Art thou not it which have dried the sea, the waters of the great deep, that have made the depths of the sea a way for the ransom to pass over? Therefore the redeemed, and that's obviously pertaining to the first exit out of Egypt. Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. So this hasn't happened yet. Couldn't have been, because we ain't be singing forever, evermore. You know. And sorrow and mourning shall flee away. Even I am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shalt be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the son of man which shall be made as grass? And forget of the Lord thy Maker. That hath stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and has fed continually every day because of the fury of his oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? Let's keep it going. The captive exile hastened that he may be loosed, but he shall not die in the pit, nor that his bread shall fail. But I am the Lord thy God, that has provided the sea, whose waves roar. The Lord of the hosts is his name, and I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee with the shadow of my hand, and I may put... It just reminded me of I think it's around Acts chapter 5, they talk about how when the Spirit entered into some of the apostles, namely Peter, he was given so much spiritual power that people were getting healed by his shadow. And so imagine what the shadow of the Lord's hand is. And obviously that's metaphorical. But I am the shadow of my hand, that I plant the heavens, and I lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. So these are the people going back. It's a good place to wrap it up, man. Going back to Psalms 83. These are the people we come under the Lord, given not from our own merit, but through his promise and his own word, that he would bless the children of Israel, and that they shall inherit the earth, man. So for that, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, HaKadosh, faithfully following his word, pursuing the truth, rehearsing the righteous acts, and looking forward to the downfall of Babylon. Shalom.